If you're watching this, I am dead. My name is Dale Higgins. I'm 85 years old. Hell, I don't even know how to talk about myself anymore. Past tense or present. Doesn't matter much now, does it? I'm a cattle rancher. Third generation. Or I was. The Higgins Ranch. 1,600 acres in Judith Basin County, Montana. My grandfather broke that ground in 1911. My father expanded it in 47. And I let it die with me. But we'll get to that. First, I need to tell you how I got here. Not here, to this camera, but here. To the end. It was April 3rd, 2024. I remember because it was the day after my granddaughter Emma's birthday, and I'd been feeling poorly during her party. Couldn't sit down without this deep ache in my lower back. Thought I'd thrown it out moving hay bales. 85-year-old man's got no business doing that kind of work, but I've never been good at asking for help. That's part of the problem, isn't it? Pride, always pride. My daughter, Rachel, she'd been after me for months to see Dr. Caldwell in Great Falls. Dad, you're not 20 anymore, she'd say. I got to know that. Like every morning when I put my boots on, wasn't a reminder that this body's been used hard and put away wet too many times. But the back pain got worse. Started having trouble with my waterworks too. Getting up 6-7 times a night. Fear was just age. Just the body wearing out like an old truck. Rachel drove me to Great Falls on Thursday. I remember the sky was that particular kind of Montana blue that makes you believe in something bigger than yourself. Not a cloud anywhere. We didn't talk much on the drive. She knew I didn't want to go. I knew she was worried. Dr. Caldwell's office smells like disinfectant and old magazines. They had me wait 45 minutes, which gave me plenty of time to read a Field and Stream from 2019 and regret every decision that led me to that plastic chair. He did the exam. I won't go into details because there's no dignity in it. I've got precious little dignity left to spare. But he found something. His face changed. Doctors think they're good at hiding, but they're not. I've seen that look before when the vet came out to tell me we had to put down my horse Chief back in 98. He ordered blood work, PSA test, he called it, prostate-specific antigen. Numbers came back at 87. He said normal's under 4. Said anything over 10 is a red flag. 87 is a goddamn parade of red flags. Biopsy confirmed it 2 weeks later. Prostate cancer. Aggressive. Stage 4. Metastasized to my bones, my lymph nodes. That's what the back pain was. Cancer eating through my spine like rust through an old fence post. Gave me options. Radiation, hormone therapy, maybe buy myself another year or two. He said, maybe, but the quality of life. He trailed on. Didn't need to finish. I'd seen my friend Tommy McBride go through chemo for lung cancer 3 years back. Watched it hollow him out until there was nothing left but pain and morphine. They told Dr. Caldwell I'd think about it. I didn't think about it. I drove home, and I knew. The clock had started ticking. Loud. Like my grandfather's old pocket watch that he'd wind every morning at breakfast. Tick, tick, tick. Except this clock only goes one direction, and there's no winding it back up. That was 8 months ago. You want to know something strange? When you find out you're dying, really dying, not the abstract, someday we'll all die kind of dying, but there's a date on the calendar dying, everything gets quieter, sharper. The taste of coffee in the morning, the way frost looks on the pasture fence at sunrise, the sound of wind through the cottonwoods down by the creek. It all matters more, and it all matters less. I've been thinking a lot about my childhood lately. Funny how your mind goes backward when there's not much forward left to go. I was 7 years old. Summer of 1946. The war had been over for a year, but you could still feel it in the air. My father had come home different, quieter. He'd been in the Pacific, thought things he never talked about. Still doesn't talk about them, wherever he is now. We had a dog named Soldier, heart blue healer, heart something else. Best cattle dog we ever had. Smart as a whip and loyal to a fault. That dog slept outside my bedroom door every single night. That summer, we had a problem with coyotes. They got bold, coming right up to the cabin pasture at dusk. We lost 3 calves in 2 weeks. My father was furious. Not the yelling kind of furious. The cold, quiet kind, that's worse. He told me we were going hunting, just him and me. I'd never been hunting before, not really. He took his rifle, a Winchester Model 70 that he bought with his first paycheck after coming home. That rifle cost him $63. I remember because my mother was mad about it for a month. We rode out on horseback around 4 in the afternoon. Late July, it was hot. I was on my horse Dolly, and my father was on Ranger. We rode for an hour out to the northern section where the land gets rough. More rocks, more hiding places. We set up on a ridge overlooking a draw where the coyotes had been spotted. My father showed me how to distill. Grow still. Not just your body, but your mind. You make yourself part of the land, he said. You breathe when the land breathes. You don't think about where you're going or where you've been. You just are. I was 7. I didn't understand what he meant. We waited for 3 hours. Didn't move. Didn't talk. Just watched the shadows get longer across the draw. I remember the smell of sagebrush and sun-baked earth. I remember a hawk circling overhead. I remember my left foot falling asleep and not saying anything until my father had said to be still. Right before sunset, they came. 5 of them. Slipping out of the rocks like ghosts. Gray and brown and silent. My father didn't shoot right away. He waited. Watching. I could feel the tension in him. Coiled like a spring. Then he whispered. So quiet, I almost didn't hear it. The lead female. See how the others follow her. You take out the leader. The pack falls apart. He fired once. The shot cracked across the draw and echoed back from the cliffs. The lead coyote dropped. The others scattered like smoke. We rode down to where she lay. My father dismounted and stood over her for a long time. Then he knelt down and put his hand on her side. She was still warm. This isn't sport, he said. This is protection. We killed her because we had, not because we weren't. You understand the difference? I nodded, even though I wasn't sure I did. When you take a life, even an animal's life, you owe it respect. You owe it purpose. You don't waste it. You don't forget it. He buried her there. Dug a hole with a small spade he kept on the saddle and laid her in it and covered her up. Put a rock on top. That was the day I learned what it meant to be a rancher. It's not about the land. It's not about the cattle. It's about responsibility. About doing what needs to be done, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. About understanding that life and death are 2 sides of the same coin. You don't get to spend one without the other. My father died in 1979. Massive heart attack while fixing a fence. He was 63 years old. Dropped dead in the pasture. And I found 3 hours later when he didn't come in for dinner. I buried him in the family plot on the hill overlooking the ranch. Dug the hole myself, even though people told me not to. But he would have wanted it that way. He would have understood. I became a rancher because I expected. 3rd generation. But I stayed a rancher because of that day with the coyotes. Because my father taught me what it meant to be responsible for something bigger than yourself. Let me tell you about March of 1983. Worst winter we'd had in 40 years. Snow started falling in November and didn't stop until April. We lost power for 11 days in January. Lost half our herd to the cold, cattle freezing to death in the fields because we couldn't get to them. Couldn't dig them out fast enough. I worked 20-hour days that winter. My wife, Janet, she'd bring me coffee 2 in the morning while I was breaking ice on the water troughs with a sledgehammer. My hands were cracked and bleeding. My face was so wind-burned I looked like raw meat. There was one night, February 19th. Temperature was 40 below with the wind chill. I was out checking on a group of heifers in the south pasture. Found one down in the snow. She'd just given birth. Calf was still wet, steaming in the cold. Mother was too weak to get up. I knew she wasn't going to make it. You can see it in their eyes, that resignation. With the calf had a chance if I could get it warm fast enough. I picked that calf up, must have weighed 80 pounds, and I carried it half a mile through snow up to my thighs in the dark and 40 below, carrying newborn calf against my chest, trying to share what little body heat I had left. Made it back to the barn, got the calf under heat lamps, rubbed it down, bottle fed it colostrum, stayed with it until sunrise. It lived. Named her Lucky. She grew up to be one of the best breeding cows we ever had. Produced calves for 12 years. The mother died that night. I went back the next morning and found her frozen solid exactly where I'd left her. You want to know my philosophy on life? That's it. Right there. You say what you can. You don't give up, even when it's 40 below and you can't feel your feet anymore. You carry what needs carrying. And when something dies, you honor it by making sure its death meant something. That calf lived because I didn't quit. That mother's death wasn't wasted because her baby survived. That's all any of us can do. Say what we can. Carry what needs carrying. Make our deaths mean something. I thought I was doing that. I thought keeping this ranch, refusing to sell even when the offers came in. Even when my neighbors, the Hendersons, offered me fair price. I thought I was honoring my grandfather, my father, all the work they put into this land. But I was wrong. I was so wrong. I want to tell you something about land. Something most people don't understand until it's too late. Land isn't ownership, it's stewardship. You don't own the earth any more than you own the wind. You're just holding it for a while, taking care of it, passing on. My grandfather understood that. My father understood that. I forgot it. If you've got land, family land that's been passed down, listen to me. Don't make the mistake I made. Don't confuse pride with legacy. They're not the same thing. Pride is about you. Legacy is about what comes after. When the Hendersons came to me in 2019 offering to buy the ranch, I should have listened. Fair price. More than fair. They promised to keep it working land, keep running cattle, honor what my family built. Their son Jake grew up on the ranch next to ours. Good kid. Good man now. He would have cared for it. But I said no, because selling felt like failing. Felt like admitting I couldn't do it anymore. Felt like betraying my grandfather, my father, everything they worked for. So I held on tight, white-knuckled, and I mortgaged it. Took out loans to keep operating. New equipment I couldn't afford. Feed costs when the drought hit in 22. Vet bills. Property taxes that kept climbing. I kept thinking I could make it work. Keep it going just a little longer. Until what? Until I was 90, 100, until I was dead. Now I'm dead, and the bank owns it. First National in Great Falls. They'll auction it off to whoever bids highest. Probably some developers from California who'll subdivide it into ranchettes. 5-acre lots for people who want to pretend they're ranchers on the weekends. The house my grandfather built with his own hands will become someone's vacation property. Higgins Ranch dies with me. Not because it had to, because I was too proud to let it live without me. If you've got something worth preserving, preserve it, even if that means letting it go. Especially if that means letting it go. Don't hold so tight you strangle the thing you love. Sell to someone who'll care for it. Pass it to someone who'll honor it. Don't let the bank take it. Don't let lawyers and strangers decide what happens to your life's work. I learned this too late. Don't you make the same mistake. Rachel, baby girl, I need to talk to you. I know you're going to find out about the debt after I'm gone. The mortgage, the loans. I know you're going to be angry. You have every right to be. I should have told you years ago. Should have brought you in when things started going south. Should have asked for help. but I didn't want to burden you. You had your own life, teaching job in Bozeman, your daughter, your ex-husband giving you grief about custody. I thought I could handle it on my own. Thought I could fix it before it got too bad. Pride again. Always pride. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. You deserve better than this. You deserve a father who asked for help when he needed it, who admitted when it was in over his head, who valued his relationship with his daughter more than his ego. You used to ask me when you were little if you could have the ranch someday. You were maybe 10 years old, standing in the kitchen watching your grandmother make bread. Daddy, when I grow up, can I be a rancher like you and Grandpa and great-grandpa? I said yes. Of course, yes. I promised you this place. I broke that promise. I stole your inheritance because I was too stubborn to admit I needed help. Too proud to sell when I should have sold. Too afraid of what people would think of Dale Higgins. Third-generation rancher, couldn't make it work. The cancer is going to kill my body, but pride killed everything else. I want you to know something, Rachel. When I'm gone and you're going through my things, you're going to find papers, documents, loan statements going back 5 years. It's going to hurt. Looking at those numbers, understanding how bad it got, understanding that I hid it from you all that time. Don't let it poison your memories of me. Don't let my failure at the end erase everything that came before. I was a good father when you were young. I taught you to ride, taught you to fix a fence, taught you to read the sky for weather. Remember that. Please remember that. Remember Christmas mornings in the kitchen with your mother making cinnamon rolls. Remember summer evenings riding down to the creek to check on cattle. Remember me teaching you to drive in the old pickup when you were 13, bouncing across the pasture, both of us laughing when we stalled out trying to shift gears. Remember the good parts, and forgive me for the bad. I love you, baby girl. I've loved you since the moment you were born, February 7th, 1972, 6 pounds, 8 ounces. Came into the world screaming. You haven't stopped fighting since. You're stronger than I ever was. Smarter too. You would have made a hell of a rancher. I'm sorry I took that from you. I hope someday you can forgive me. Emma, my granddaughter. If you're watching this when you're older, you probably don't remember me very well. You're only 8 now. By the time you're old enough to understand this, I'll be a story your mother tells, a face in old photographs. But I want you to know your great-great-grandfather came to Montana with nothing but a wagon and a dream in 1911. He built something from dirt and sweat and stubbornness. Your great-grandfather made it bigger, made it better. And your grandfather let it die because he didn't know when to ask for help. Learn from that. Learn from my mistake. When you need help, ask for it. When you're drowning, don't pretend you can swim. When pride and love come into conflict, choose love every single time. Pride is cold comfort when you're dying alone. You want to know what I learned? Really learned. Not the easy answers, but the hard truth. Life isn't about what you build. It's about what you leave behind and the people you loved. The ranch was just dirt, grass, and cattle. It mattered because my grandfather's hands touched it, because my father's sweat soaked into it, because I spent 50 years of my life working. But it was never the point. The point was the morning coffee with my wife, Janet, before she died in 2011. The point was teaching my daughter to ride a horse. The point was watching my granddaughter open birthday presents. The point was the conversation, the laughter, the quiet moments sitting on the porch watching the sun go down over land, spinning my family for 3 generations. The land was just a stage. The people were the play. I got so focused on the stage, I forgot to pay attention to the performance. I thought legacy was acreage. Thought it was keeping the name on a mailbox. Keeping cattle in a pasture with the same brand my grandfather registered in 1911 love. But legacy isn't land. Legacy is love. Legacy is the memories you leave and the people who survive you. Legacy is teaching your daughter to be strong, teaching your granddaughter to be kind, teaching anyone who will listen that asking for help isn't weakness. gets wisdom. The ranch is gone. The Higgins name will disappear from Judith Basin County. Someone else's cows will graze that pasture. Someone else will watch the sun rise over those hills. But Rachel will remember her father. Emma will remember her grandfather, even if it's just fragments. The stories will persist even after the land is gone. That's legacy. I wish I'd understood that sooner. I've got maybe 2 weeks left, the hospice nurse says. Maybe less. The pain's getting worse. They've got me on enough morphine to drop a horse, but it barely takes the edge off anymore. This is probably the last time I'll be clear-headed enough to do this, to talk to you, to say the things I should have said years ago when it would have mattered. I don't know how to end this. Don't know what you're supposed to say when you're recording your own eulogy. There's no manual for this, no handbook. I guess I just want you to know I tried. I didn't always succeed. Made a lot of mistakes, especially at the end. But I tried to be a good man, good husband, good father, good steward of the land I was given. I failed some of that, maybe most of that, but I tried. And I love you. So goodbye, I suppose. Take care of each other. Don't make my mistakes. Ask for help. Choose love over pride. Remember that land is just land, but family is forever. Goodbye.